cell in Sachsenhausen. And after the war, he said this: first they came for the communists, and I didn't speak up because I was not a communist. And then they came for the trade unionists, and I didn't speak up because I wasn't a trade unionist. And then they came for the Jews, and I didn't speak up because I wasn't a Jew. And then they came for me. And by that time, there was no one left to speak up. And although Niemöller himself did not state the lesson as a principle, I would summarize it as follows. Next. If you see them doing it to somebody else, don't think they won't do it to you. And this suggests a need to recognize one's connections to the plight of others and one's solidarity with them. Poor Niemöller got the point after he had been shipped off to the concentration camp. By the way, I'm pretty sure his crime was that of well, once again, it often happens that people watch democracy literally evaporate before their very eyes, and they say, well, that's of no concern to me. I have my work. I have my research. I'm going to get a good job. I'm not involved with all of this. And I believe it was Patrick Henry who once said, give me liberty, or maybe a research center and a few grants. Maybe I don't have that quote exactly right. But even for those of you who simply want to get on with your work and your lives, there's another point of recognition. It's a malady to which even good rulers often fall prey. The historian Barbara Tuchman calls it the march of folly. In her book by that title, she looks at societies that launched catastrophic wars or pursued disastrous policies, tenaciously persisting in them to the bitter end, even when the results were clearly contrary to their self-interest. And she calls this mindset that produces outcomes of this kind wooden-headedness. Thank God we don't have any wars like that now. And if you read the daily paper, the New York Times, or for that matter, the Polytechnic, you'll find ample evidence that the march of folly continues to this day. But fortunately, we are not helpless. Next slide. Barbara Tuchman spells out a suggestion. She writes, if the mind is open enough to perceive that a given policy is harming rather than serving self-interest, and self-confident enough to acknowledge it and wise enough to reverse it, that is the summit of the art of government. How wonderfully sensible. Why not give it a try? Well, I hope this has been an educational experience for you. We've discussed some important concepts: flunky, quisling, stool pigeon, and we've covered some important historical principles. And I want to thank you for participating in this presentation with me, even though, as you probably noticed, we've sometimes stumbled perilously close to the brink of unprofessional conduct. Thank you.